Welcome, everybody. This is Thomas Trimmingham. I'm the Director of Marketing for M&R Companies. And today I'm talking with Stevie from Second City Prints. Stevie, welcome. And why don't you just real quick introduce yourself and let us know what your company does.
Yeah, hi Thomas. Thanks for having me. My name is Stevie Hopkins. I'm the founder and CEO currently of Second City Prints in Batavia, Illinois. We're about 40-ish miles west of downtown Chicago. My company is a independent, vertically integrated management and merchandising company for the entertainment industry. So from point A all the way to point Z, we touch every part of the process from prospecting, we call it A&R in the entertainment industry, artists and relations, prospecting to concepting, creation, creative branding to individual design. We do e-commerce design, e-commerce development. We do production. In-house, we do screen printing, embroidery, finishing, retail packaging. We outsource cut and sew and promotional products to different vendors and overseas factories. And then we also do all the fulfillment, pick and pack. And then we also do retail merchandising with, Urban Outfitters, Hot Topic, Target, Walmart, whoever wants our clients' products. And then we also do two other things. One isn't relevant right now, but tour merchandising. So we manage all tour merchandising, hiring the sellers, managing the sellers, logistics to and from shows, to and from tours, and then we also do international merchandising for both touring and e-commerce. So yeah, whatever our clients need, we do it.
Yeah, for sure. You're a busy guy, and we have a mutual friend in Matt Marcotte too as well. I was just curious, like, how did you get started, and when did you know that you were kind of going to steer towards this industry? When did that happen?
Yeah, I started in the merchandising industry on accident in 2009. My sister Annie passed away. She owned a t-shirt brand for the disability community called 3E Love. You may have seen it, Thomas. It's the wheelchair heart logo. It's a internationally renowned, well-known logo in the disability community. When she passed away, at that time I worked in the music industry, as well as the financial industry. I had two jobs. I was a young buck out of college. I thought I could do everything and anything. But when she passed away, it kind of made me think about my life, and I quit both of those jobs. So I took over her t-shirt brand. At first, we were printing it with just other local shops. My friend's shop was one of them. He wasn't getting the job done, and he wanted to quit his shop anyway. So I bought his equipment, moved it into my dad's basement, trained my, I didn't train anybody, but my cousin learned how to print shirts. All we were doing was white ink. That's all we were doing. We were terrible at it. It was so bad. There was white ink everywhere. The shirts weren't cured. It was so bad for like the first month or two. Um, we got kicked out by the fire department. Had to move into another warehouse. That was a whole nother dilemma. But long story short, that brand, it ended up exploding internationally. 50,000 some customers in 40 plus countries. I was traveling all over the country doing like motivational speaking, consulting, disability awareness events. The brand was booming. Our brand, that company, without any other printing, was 8 full-time employees at one point. Uh, 2 full-time printers, 2 support staff, and then 4 of us on like the admin side. Um, that was booming. In 2013, 14, when Facebook changed their algorithm, our business started to take a hit because we were all around Facebook. So I decided to tell all my like nonprofit customers and friends that I printed T-shirts. None of them knew. They just knew I sold T-shirts. They didn't know I printed T-shirts. Um, and so we started doing odds and ends jobs, multi-color jobs, whatever we could get, we were doing it. We were learning. That ended up going really fast. That led me to a local pop punk band in Chicago. They needed a rush job, 25 shirts. I said yes. I got it done in a day. Wasn't a big deal. It was just like a three-color print. Um, they picked it up from my house at midnight the next day before they got in the van to go on tour. They ended up becoming really good friends of mine. We just bonded as people. Just really nice guys. I had previous business experience in the music industry prior to my sister passing away, so I started advising them. I ended up, I was doing pick and pack for my own brand. So when they decide, hey, can you do our web store? I'm like, yeah, why not? It sounds easy. So I took on their web store. They exploded. They signed like a major independent record deal. They ended up being like 8% of our revenue overnight. They just out of nowhere, they exploded. Um, then in 2015, their managers and their business managers, they kind of came to me and they forced me to make a decision. They said, you need to scale your business to support them and or any referrals you get, because you will get referrals. Or we got to take a contract with another company. Um, but they gave me the choice, which was really nice of them. So I said yes. They turned down the advance. It was like a huge advance too, a few $100,000 to leave me. They turned it down. They stayed with me, and within a month of me telling them yes, they referred 3 or 4 other artists that were not as big as them, but they had potential. And then I opened up 4 more websites, and then 5 years later, I don't even know what happened. I mean, I've done merchandises for some of the biggest names in the world, so just happened.
It rolls. Well, obviously you got a knack for it. I mean, and one of the things too with working with, what would you say, higher tier clients, they tend to be, what would I say, at least from my experience working with, folks at Harley and some of the other bands doing some stuff for all the names that you'd recognize, just it tends to be last minute a little bit. I don't know if you've noticed that, but it's
Yeah,
like, yeah, that's one of the struggles that I had was like I loved working with the people. They were so exciting and the work was energized, but there was always that last minute element. I don't know how you deal with that, but it's
yeah. You your production schedule and production team has to be extremely flexible. You have to have it be fluid. You can't be black and white. You can't have rules within your scheduling process. Um, you got to have a great, operations manager, a great, you just have a great team because, I mean, there have been days where, especially when touring is active, it's stressful, very stressful. Because I'll give you a client example. I was heavily involved in the development creation of Billie Eilish, her merchandising brand. Okay, and she went from a client that was a 25-piece order client to 30% of our revenue in 1 year. And I could have filled 4 presses all day, every day, all year for her between e-commerce and touring, and it happened overnight. So you have to be flexible. You have to be you have to temper your ambition with your operational capacity. I think you can't be greedy. Because not only are Billy's team was great, they never nickel and dime me. They were never that type. But in the entertainment industry, there's a lot of people that want to work with these people, so it's very competitive. So if you get into the nickel and diming, your margins are going to be so low that now you can't afford to be flexible, right? So You gotta always stay in control of your operations and your pricing, and your fluidity and flexibility. Because when Billy blew up, I had no choice. I had to outsource stuff all over the world. I wanted to do it in house. I wanted to feed my own people. I wanted to maximize my margins, but I couldn't. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, because she'd be at one show in Chicago, sold out 500-person show, which isn't a big deal normally, but with her audience base, they're buying 5 times more merch per head than my average customer. So, your projections are always off. And then the next tour, she's doing 2,000 tap rooms. Then she's selling out like the headliner at Lollapalooza. And that's just one client. I mean, that's one out of, at that time, 300. And every client, you never know what's going to happen, both online and on tour. It
Yeah.
is an operational logistical puzzle every day.
Yeah, you're moving stuff around all the time. I can imagine. One thing that struck me, and I've heard this from other people about you, is you're just really good at working with people. And I'm wondering, is that something that you've always been kind of good at, or is that something that you really had to study and work at? To learn how to kind of vibe with people and kind of figure out how to work with them. And because I imagine you work with a lot of different personalities. You know what I mean? And working with, and I think that's one of the keys, at least I've seen consistently with successful printers, is they learn how to get employees that are good and they learn how to keep them. And I'm just wondering if you have any thoughts in regards to that, because I've heard that in regards to your operation in particular.
Yeah, I think that it's a learning process that I'm still doing. I'm still underway. I'm still developing as a person and as a man and a friend and a role model and an employer. Like I'm still improving. I still have weaknesses. Um, I had a meeting the other day with an employee I wasn't very proud of. I'm like, man, I could have done that better. So I think that it's most important just to be self-aware, um, of what your weaknesses are, and then having other leaders around you that can like call you on your BS and also like tell you when you did things wrong or in their opinion that you did things wrong, and have other leaders around you that don't just say that you're the best, you're amazing, you're awesome, you're perfect, because no one's perfect. So I think I've been really fortunate to have like really amazing employees that they do respect me and they look up to me and they know that at the end of the day, I'm the owner and I'm the CEO. So I have to make decisions unilaterally sometimes. But I've been really lucky to find some incredible people. I've got an incredible COO with 10 years of operational experience, from the contract printing world, which I know nothing about, but I mean, I do now, but I didn't. So she's been able to kind of help with streamlining processes so that I could just focus on like my relationships with them as humans, and helping them develop as humans, because I'm not good at operational process management. I'm terrible at it. And I'll be the first to tell you I'm terrible at it. So I've been lucky to have good people around me. And then I think, I'll be honest, I think having a disability, while it's a disadvantage in many areas of life, obviously, inherently, I think it's my greatest advantage. I It has forced me to overcome a lot of challenges, large and small, on a daily, monthly, yearly, lifetime basis. And it's kind of forced me to evolve in a different way, I think. So it's a strength, in my opinion. I looked at it as a strength now because I have this rule. It's a slogan. I should probably trademark it. Somebody probably already has. I don't know. But I don't really believe in a tea emergency. There's no such thing. Like, how could there ever be an emergency in the t-shirt world? It's a damn t-shirt. Like, so I'm just very chill. Like, even if my employee, a printer, an account manager has $25,000 discrepancy. It's okay. We'll figure it out. I'm not losing my head. I've been through worse in life. So I give a lot of second chances, a lot of third chances. Um, yeah, some more important things than money and t-shirts. I just happen to love what I do, and it works out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I can tell you like what you do, and that's a big deal because, I've talked to printers before, and it's remarkable. You'll see an alignment in some ways with printers that are like you saying doing contract. They're working on the pennies versus people that really like what they're doing. They're kind of more focused on the art to some degree, or the client. They're focused on the client. One thing I wanted to touch base with you. Obviously, we probably should touch base on COVID because I'm sure with a lot of your clients, I'm sure that had some navigation that you had to do. How's that looking like right now? Like, what do you have to do for that?
It was the worst thing and best thing that ever happened to my business. It's been a very, very confusing year. um, yeah, it all started where it changed my entire big picture plan overnight without even having a choice. Just instantly. I mean, with tour and e-commerce and retail, we were doubling year after year after year after year easily without even marketing. And just from organic word of mouth within the entertainment industry. Um, and we had plans to hire 20 to 30 people in quarter one, quarter two. We were, buying a brand new building, buying a brand new shop. I was in final negotiations for the building, for the loans. I mean, we were looking at acquiring a West Coast facility. I mean, everything was just 180 miles an hour, you know? And all of a sudden, I'll never forget, it was, March 15th, I believe, 14th. It was a Tuesday. One of my booking agent friends told me that, I had to reroute something because of a show got canceled in Seattle because Washington State started shutting down earlier. And then a day later, California started shutting down, and all my tours were being rerouted, and all my merch was being rerouted. I went, huh. And and then Europe, it started happening when Washington, California. And so, like, I had to make decisions. I'm like, wait, is this just a one off thing, or is this going to be a global thing? We decided very early it was a global thing, and we instantly made the call to pretend as if all tours were canceled, even though the clients did not tell us they were canceled. That's a big thing to do because our clients are sending us orders and we're pretending like we're taking them, but we're not buying the garments and we're not taking them. So we're telling them that we're taking their orders, but we had already laid off most of our staff.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I had to make a very big, risky decision. Um, and that paid off because we ended up not getting stuck on as many garments, on as many orders, on as many things. We had less to clean up. Then we went into cleanup mode. We had artists all over the world in Germany, in Asia, in America, all in their vans, all wondering what the hell do we do? And they've had all this merch that I financed that they owed me money on that now they have no way to sell it. And am I going to foot them with the bills? Am I going to long term finance it? It was stressful. So we took all of our best people. I put them all on the e-commerce, and we had tour leftover sales ready before the tours were even 100% announced as canceled.
Mm.
The public didn't know they were canceled, but me and the managers knew that they were canceled. So every account manager, whether they were tour or e-commerce, went straight into that mode. Get stuff online before it was even in our building. And it worked. And then we had to shut down. Then the state of Illinois shut down. Then production got shut down. Uh, Fulfillment wasn't legally shut down, but it was like confusing. So I had to like consult with lawyers. So I had to shut down all of fulfillment while I reviewed things. Then we had to figure that out. Then some states were allowed to produce. It was just a nightmare for about 2 to 3 months. Um, then we opened back up when we were legally allowed to on all fronts, production and pick and pack fulfillment. Um, and then we were behind because during that time period, all of our clients were marketing like they never marketed before because now they got nothing else to do. And on top of that, I got lucky with a few accounts. Just like the Billy days, they were 20 times bigger than anyone ever thought they'd be. And now I think because of that, I think our e-commerce revenue is up 1,000% this year over last year.
That's insane.
And
Yeah,
yeah, and we're still stuck in the same building because I canceled the building purchase, but
yeah,
then I renegotiated that, so now we're moving back into the new building, but it's 6 months delayed. Now Black Friday is
yeah,
coming.
yeah. It's a roller coaster for sure. And I'm wondering, honestly, I'm wondering, Stevie, and maybe you might have more insight to whatever degree you can share, but
Oh,
I've been wondering, there's got to be a pressure, right? With all these artists, the majority of the money they make is on touring.
mhm.
They're gonna want to all tour kind of at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Like when it opens up next, I'm hoping spring, whether it'll be, you know, eh, who knows,
Probably
like March, April, May,
it's
everybody all at the
not gonna
same
be
time.
March, April, May, but yeah, it's gonna happen.
And what are you gonna do then? That's gonna be insane. That's gonna
Yeah.
be like,
Well,
uh,
I'm not gonna tell the world what I'm gonna do because all my competitors are also wondering what the hell they're gonna do.
fair
Uh,
enough, fair enough.
but
But
I do have a plan. I am already working on it. But you are right. It is going to be crazy.
yeah,
Now, if you
I don't even
want
know if it's plannable in a way. It's like it's
to,
just
yeah, it isn't. It isn't because I think like the optimist in me. But if you're the artist, you're like, oh, Stevie's being cynical. But for my operational sanity, the optimist in me tells me that when there are concerts again, there's going to be limits on number of people. I think it'll be 100 to 200 person shows. I think that giant artists like, some of my biggest clients like, I don't know, Brent Fayez, Carly Rae Jepsen, big pop stars, hip hop stars, they're used to playing 3,000 tap rooms. I think they're going to be playing in 300 tap rooms. And
mm,
I think that's going to be the coolest thing ever. But
mm,
then what's going to happen is that I think all the booking agents are going to be fighting over the rooms. And there aren't enough rooms because all the little bands are going to want to tour too. And then I think restaurants are going to be opening up outdoor stages so that they can host concerts. And then stools are going to be using their gyms again, like they were in the early 2000s, before Live Nation bought every venue and capitalized on DIY music. I think it's going to go back to the old days for a little bit, like when I was a booking agent promoter, and I was doing 500-piece person concerts in like wedding halls. I
mhm.
mean, I think that is what's going to happen.
Yeah,
It's going to be very interesting.
it is. This is really dating myself, but like one of the funnest concerts I ever went to, Steve, I went back in the college days, like early '90s, I think, or maybe even late '80s. I saw the Cult live in a small venue, and it was just spectacular. It was like a couple hundred people, and
Mhm.
I guess I don't know what you'd say, the intimacy and just everybody being packed together, and it was pretty mean. It was cool. Different
Yeah,
than a big stadium, but so that
yeah,
that can be pretty cool if that happens. It's going to be interesting for everybody. But
yeah. That's like one of my predictions. I think that'll happen. I think Europe and Australia will open up earlier. I think that's going to increase the need for like better international merchandising and logistics. And consulting services, that's going to be hard. Um, I don't know. I think the other thing that I'm hoping, I think that e-commerce is kind of like, it was sort of disrespected for a long
Mhm.
time
Yeah.
in the entertainment industry. It was sort of as like, oh, well, we'll put leftovers online, or I have an idea, let's launch the shirt tomorrow. There was like no planning, and this has forced all of my top artists to plan, and they're enjoying it, and they're getting better at it, and I think they're respecting what is possible and what can be done if you plan, right? And that's from a small artist all the way to a big artist. It's almost like COVID is helping us train them to what we always wanted it to be. And it's also forcing us to be better at what we do. And
Yeah.
so when I said it was the best thing that happened, COVID, in a way, it's allowed me to focus, and we're getting better and better at everything that we're still able to do. And the optimist in me says that even when touring is back, that all these brands and entertainers and comedians that we work with and YouTubers and whatever, whoever they are, not just music, that they are going to continue doing what they're doing now.
Yeah.
That's the optimist in me. And if that happens, I'm going to have to, it's going to be crazy.
Yep. Well, I'm gonna definitely check in with you again after in the spring because I think it's gonna be super fun. Well, I know how busy you are, and I want to respect your time. So again, I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me. And if you can, just shoot us some pictures if you're able. Some of the stuff that you guys do, and yeah. And I just want to thank you again for your time. That's been great, man. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
no problem. I appreciate you guys. You helped me buy I got a big new M&R shop being built right now, so I'm
Yep.
excited. We got 4 brand new presses, all new automated string equipment. We have that digital 3D. I don't know what we're gonna do with that, but I bought one. We'll see what happens.
You're
But
gonna have fun with it. Yeah, you'll have
yeah,
fun with that for sure.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
for
we're
sure, Steve.
moving. So yeah, I'll send you photos and video of our current shop, and then I'll send it to you in our new shop, which is about a month away. So
All right, that'll be awesome. That'll be
cool.
awesome. Well, thank you so much, Stevie. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Nice meeting you, Thomas.
Yep, take care.